So on the bus ride there, Mike was talking about the bus driver, Mike. He was talking about how Hobbiton came to be in this farm out south of Matamata, or southwest of Matamata. It's a farm owned by a man named Ian Alexander. At least it was then. I don't remember the guy's name who owns it now. But apparently they chose the Waikato Valley because of the lush green grass, and it's beautiful rolling hills, and you look at it and you just think hobbits could live here, and you could, and it's beautiful. So apparently the location scouts walked up. They couldn't get any farther because there's a field and no trespassing and stuff because that's illegal. So they found the owner of the farm and they went in, and apparently it was a very important rugby match on, and it was watching. And the scout knocked on the door, and our tour guide gave some lovely sound effects, sorry. And apparently it was knocking for a long time because it wasn't half time in the rugby match. And finally he answered, and Ian Alexander answered, and the scout asked if they could see the farm. And because the rugby match was not over yet, the guy said, "Yeah, go ahead and look. Leave the gates as you find them." And so they did. And then they came back and they wanted to film a movie. And so I think it was 20 acres of land that they, I don't know that they own, but they lease, I guess, from the Alexander farm. And Hobbiton itself takes up about 16 of that. You have to have room for production and tech and all that stuff. But they use up quite a bit of land. And they put a lot of effort into it this time around. Not polystyrene and plywood and blech. It looks exactly like it does in the films, and it's beautiful, and it's gorgeous, and it's amazing, and I could have spent way more time there, especially during the daylight, but twilight was very nice. Could have had a better sunset, like more colors and stuff, but it was still pretty and beautiful, and I have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures. Lots of pictures. And so you walk through Gandalf's gully, where between the two brick walls where he first drives his cart with Frodo, and then we get pictures. Lots of stopping for pictures because hello, you go to Hobbiton, you're going to take lots and lots and lots and lots of pictures. I got many Money Bunny pictures. She had a great time, and I was wearing my brown dandle. It was pretty cool. I was the only one dressed up, but hey, the only thing would have made it better if I had been wearing this. I completely forgot about this. I did not take it. I don't wear it very much because it's slightly coming apart. But if I had been wearing this, it would have been even more perfect. But I was wearing my Tree of Life stuff, so it was still pretty cool. The lady at Shire's Cafe is that Tree of Gondor or Tree of Life? I was like, I don't know what it is, but I go for Tree of Gondor because, hey, Lord of the Rings, cool. Ooh. And we walked through. He told us lots of interesting things, such as about the the big tree on top of Bag End. It's a beautiful tree. It features in the movie for about 30 seconds. Okay, maybe that's a slight exaggeration. Probably about 15 seconds, if that much. It's artificial. It's a fake tree. And it's every single leaf is attached, singly leafed. And at one point, 10 days before filming, Peter Jackson came up to the tree, looked at it, and said, "That's not what I want. I don't want it like that." The leaves were not green enough, apparently, so they had to take a ladder up and spray paint each and every of these hundreds of thousands, okay, maybe 100,000 or 200,000 leaves on this tree. They had to individually spray paint them greener. And every couple of years, they have to re-leaf the entire tree and redo branches and stuff on this tree. So this tree, fake tree, is an immense piece of work. The party tree down in the party field is real, however. The vegetables in the vegetable gardens are not real. The pumpkins are not real. The guide says he knows this because he has worked here for longer than 6 months. And we walked around Hobbiton, and there's this one hobbit hole where you can actually go inside. It's just an entry big enough basically for the door and a person to be inside. It's not set inside. It's just blank. It looks like a mudroom. And you can go and get your picture taken. And Bag End door is open, and you can see that the set is complete on the inside for at least a couple of meters, and that's because Bag End is the one hobbit hole that hobbits go in and out of. And if you're gonna put all this work into making this fake tree, you're not gonna open the door to Bag End and have it just be dirt. That just ruins it. So even though once you're inside Bag End, you're back in the set in Wellington, you have the point when you're going into Bag End. So you have to have some set pieces. We didn't actually get to go into Bag End, sadly, but no admittance except on party business. We were not on party business. The sign was on the gate, and it said that, so we couldn't go in. But did get pictures in front of it, and pictures of it, pictures of behind it, and pictures beside it, and lots of pictures. It was really cool. Went down, and by this point, after we went back past Bag End, it was starting to get darker, so we were starting to play with camera settings, aperture, and shutter speed, and exciting stuff. And then we went to the Green Dragon Inn and got free drinks! Woo! Drinks! And I tried a beverage. I had the Sackville cider. 5% alcohol, I believe it was. The most alcoholic of them all, but it was the only one that wasn't beer. And it was disgusting. For me, at least. I'm sure people thought it was fantastic and beautiful and gorgeous and stuff. But A, it was carbonated, which, ow, and I burped through my nose and it hurt. B, it was alcoholic and it tasted like alcohol and it was gross. And C, it was apple cider. And I'm not a big apple juice fan anyway, so why did I do that? But it wasn't beer. And I had a sip of Uncle Wilbert's beer. That he had a dark beer, and it's like, this is disgusting and I don't see why people drink this. So I drank about 2.5 centimeters, maybe an inch, of my beer, of my cider, sorry, not beer. And then I gave it to Uncle Wilbert, and he drank his beer, and then he drank my cider. And I have a lovely picture of him in front of a fireplace in the barroom of the Green Dragon Inn with a drink in each hand. It's like, he's a two-fisted drinker, he is! A true hobbit indeed. And then we went and had dinner. And it was a lot of food. And it was a lot of food. And we sat next to this lovely Canadian, whose name was Robert. He's a doctor out of Eastern Canada, and Uncle Wilbert remembers the town name. And he's a very chatty fellow. And there were a couple of other French Canadians, and we had, according to our lovely friend Robert, the Canadian, we had pig and we had cow, because apparently he couldn't remember the words in French or something, and I don't remember. I don't know why he said one of them was pig and one of them was cow. I mean, they were pig and cow, obviously, beef and pork, but pig and cow. And there were rolls, and there were spuds, and there was these pumpkin dish things that I didn't have any of, but it was me. And there were chicken, a whole chicken, which we had to carve with a butter knife because there was no carving knife. And we got moved, Uncle Wilbert and I, about 3 times, because we sat in one place, but there was no room at the table, and other people needed, so we moved to another place, and then we got moved to another place. And because of that, they offered Uncle Wilbert and me, and I each, and me, yes, and me, an additional beverage, which I declined because ew, and Uncle Wilbert declined because hello, driving. And this roads were not very well marked, not lit at all, and well, it's a farm road, hello, of course it's not going to be lit, and quite windy, so he wanted to not be inebriated in any way, shape, or form. And then they brought out dessert after we were full to the gills. They brought out dessert, and it was a big slab of pave, not a crusted pave. It was mostly just big meringue, basically. They should just call it meringue. But it had some kiwi fruit, and I think it was pineapple on top. I don't remember, so I didn't have any of that. Maybe it was mango, I don't know. But they also had seed cakes and plum pie things that were really good, but not very sweet. They were almost savory. It was really good. And there were baked stuffed apples and stewed pears, and it was really good. And it was ate too much. And some cinnamon something yogurt. But it was really good. And I mean, you know the place is good when you want to take a camera to the loo. And I wish I had, because they had toilets, obviously, but they had boxes on the walls. The tanks were on the walls, and you pulled the cord to flush. It's really cool. It's like, oh, that's really neat. I don't know why I'd want to take my camera to the loo, but I do. But the Green Dragon itself, it looks like your apparently. I've never been to a traditional English pub, but apparently it looks like your traditional English pub, and it's the detail in these places are just so amazing. And it was in the Green Dragon that we met Pickles for the first time. Pickles is the only resident of Hobbiton. She was apparently adopted by one of the people who was working there when they were following a car down the road, and the car slowed down and tossed a box out the window, and inside the box was a kitten. So they named it Pickles, and lives at Hobbiton, and is the tavern cat. Not very friendly. I'm guessing people feed him, so feed her, and so she's not very friendly for pets. But she will follow you, and she followed us all the way around to the rest of the tour. It's like, careful, Pickles is coming that way. Don't step on her. After that, we went out to the party field and we danced in a circle for a bit. Well, Uncle Albert and I danced in a little do-si-do while Mike and David sang the Hobbit song, sang the song that Merry and Pippin sang at Adoras. You can search far and wide, you can drink the whole time, and so on. But they invited us to dance, and they talked about things such as the cake being set on fire, and they kept asking questions. Who knows this, such and such? I'm like, this. I know. Wasn't shouting it out though. It was a child. He'd have been upset. There was only one child, which was probably a good thing because I mean there are children from Africa out at Shire's Rest, but at Hobbiton for the night tour there was only one. I think he was about 10 or 12 because we got back to the motel about 10 o'clock, so it was really late. And plus there were alcoholic beverages. There was also ginger beer. So for those of us who did not want to drink, but ginger beer is also carbonated, so I didn't try it. Ew. But yeah, it was really cool. And I was like, I don't want to leave now. It's really nice. I don't have the words. I was heart pumping, grinning the entire time. It's best fun ever and the most beautiful place. And definitely would go back time and time again. Our tour guide David said that no matter how many times he walks through Hobbiton, this was at night, I was walking right behind him. It never gets tired of seeing Hobbiton lit up at night. It was just beautiful. Terrible pictures of night because, well, it's dark and no matter how steady your hands are, you cannot hold your camera still for 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a really long time when you're trying to take a picture, but... Okay, so one last story about the Hobbit, the party field. So they had in the books, there's one gross of people because Frodo's turning 33 and Bilbo's turning 111, so, that's 144, which is one gross. Very special number. So they had 144 guests out on the party field. And there, in reality, there are about 100 actors. And they're all friends and family of cast members and production crew and stuff like that. And they're all in costume, 100 hobbits on the party field. And they gave all the children as many lollies and as sugars as they want. Just hype them up, get them all excited. Because you're going to do take after take after take after take. And the adults got... a drink called Sobering Thought, which is 1% alcohol, which you take a drink every take. After 40 or 50 takes, you know, you might be a little tipsy. But if you had actual alcohol, like 4 or 5%, you need to be, you'd go from Hobbit party to Hobbit drunkenness, whatever. But, so they had all these parties, and for the fireworks scene, because they had to do the firework, all the hobbits starting at the fireworks so often, they got used to it after a couple of takes. So Peter Jackson put noise in the fire, and so you got Merry and Pippin setting off this firework, and they're right next to it, Dom and Billy. And when it goes off, he didn't tell anybody about the fact that he put pyrotechnics in, like an actual bang and light, so people would be startled. And apparently, the tour guide was not clear on this. He said Dominic or Pippin, which is not the same person. One of them apparently had to change his pants after that. Very surprising, very shocked, and very amazing. But yes, it was incredible and amazing and beautiful, and I could talk about it for a lot longer using those words, but I'm not really all that words, so I can't. Just look at the pictures and you'll understand.